All right, all right. Good afternoon, everyone. We're here once again this beautiful Thursday, heading into September. I'm looking forward to fall. I'm looking forward to football. Looking forward to all the good stuff. What I'm really looking forward to is this call because this is where we come to sharpen our skills. Hence the name Sharpen Clicks. Iron sharpens iron. One man sharpens another. We live by that proverb here. So here we're just here to sharpen our skills, our sales skills, our presentation skills, our lead follow-up skills, our decreasing no-show rate skills, just all the skills out there that it takes to be successful in this industry. So we have Chad here who's been really just dropping jewels and really getting us to that next level in our business. And so appreciate everyone that's been involved, contributing with their questions and everything. So we're gonna keep it rolling, man. And you gotta
Yes.
show up. You gotta show up. We're here. We're here. So let's go ahead and sharpen those skills. Let's close some more deals. Ultimately, for our families, being able to provide for them. And so these are the skills it takes to be successful. So thank
Yeah.
you all for tuning in.
Yeah. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. Glad to
Yeah.
have everyone here.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So this afternoon's topic, we're going to be talking about those questions. What are some of those questions we can use in a sales presentation just to unravel a lot of other opportunities? So it's really just some questions you can ask and things you need to be listening for. You need to be actively listening. And so Chad here is a seasoned founder and owner of Denali Wealth, insurance brokerage. So he's going to be dropping some knowledge for you all, and been very successful in the Sharpen Clicks program, and his team has been very successful. So, Chad, I'm gonna let you take it away and just let them know what's up going on.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Brandon. Great to be here today, guys. I think our main focus today, like Brandon said, is to figure out how we can open up more opportunities for our clients, more planning opportunities, and then also get them closer to a decision on their life insurance. So I think when we do it, start asking more questions and even better questions, we're helping both of us. Because think about it, the client's coming in, they filled out a Facebook or an Instagram or an online form. They're hoping to get some information right on a quote or some kind of product option for their family, and they don't even know who they're talking to yet. They may see a name, they may see a website or a landing page, and that helps a lot. Sharpen Clicks does a good job with that, but after that, it's up to us to not only help but to connect. So good news is most of the clients that come into our portal are what we call high intent. So they're looking for coverage. They're there. They did the work already. Now we gotta help them along the process. So I think there's a lot of different scripts out there. Our team uses one we call it the digital script. And it goes into a lot of the basic questions that we're going to ask a client for the purpose of getting a quote and then scheduling a second appointment. So if you think of, even if you're doing a one call close, we're trying to qualify the client, make sure they want to work with us, make sure we have something, we offer a product that could fit them, right? Make sure they're either insurable or fit some product, and then confirm that they want to work with us, right? So they're doing the same thing. They're making sure that we're qualified as an agent, and that they want to work with us, and there's not a personality conflict or something like that. So we'll kind of assume that those kind of questions, the name, the date of birth, height and weight questions are already part of your process, and we'll look at what are the additional things we can say, think about, talk about, say to the client to help them, open up new opportunities, but also figure out what they want long term for their financial, products, their financial services. So, I always try to start with basic questions and then get more detailed. A basic one is, thank you for scheduling the call today. Tell me, what interests you about the ad or about the request for information that made you want to, kind of come in here and schedule our meeting. And so really generic, really simple question, but that gets the client talking, right? And then make sure we're in the same place, same page, right? Or at least the same book, Brandon. Sometimes we get on these calls and somebody's driving down the road or whatever, and we got to kind of get to the same book. So we're asking them that, and then we're starting with the basic questions around that. Oh, great. Yeah. All right. So tell me a little bit about what you do for work. I think that's a really good question to start with. How long have you been doing that? Do you work at a company or do you own your own business? So we're digging a little bit, and then we're finding out what's the primary hot button that the client got there for. And I was looking at one of the documents I have on the other screen. And it was around, what is your primary focus? Like what's your primary concern? If something were to happen to you, is it basic final expenses? Is it your retirement plan for you and your wife's not going to be completed? Is it going to be just a basic replacement of income, right? So what is your primary concern around life insurance in this case? Most people that we talk to, if you ask the question, they know the answer already. So that's good. So we're getting there, but we're also, if you think about it, we're finding out, all right, what are the other hot buttons? We know the obvious one is life insurance for income replacement or to pay off a large debt like a house mortgage. But is it, well, if I pass away, this, it could be my kids won't go to college, or my wife doesn't, or husband doesn't currently work. So if the income's gone, I don't know how my kids are going to be taken care of, right? And then a question I always like to ask Brandon, and this one gets left out a lot. Your current company, are you also, being that you've been there a little while, are you using a company retirement plan to save for retirement? Or are you doing something outside? Right? Logical question. They may say, well, why, are we talking about life insurance or retirement? Well, we're talking about life insurance, but a lot of our clients we find don't have any retirement plans in place, or they haven't reviewed them in a while. And so they always ask if there's a way that we can combine our retirement and our life insurance. Now, what's that, guys? For everybody on the phone and on our call, it's going to be some kind of permanent life insurance plan that incorporates both a savings vehicle and a death benefit. So, life insurance retirement plan, it's called Alert. It could be whole life, could be index universal life, could be just basic universal. But that's a question that you want to ask. You don't want to live there. You don't want to, in other words, you don't want to keep asking questions there, but you want to make a note. Okay, I made a note of that's important, because remember, that person wanted to talk about something else on that call, right? So we got some of those questions answered. And then as we get in there, I think unless you're going to do a one-call close, Brandon, I always like to mention to the client what we're going to do today. So, okay, great. Good to know. We're going to go over a few more questions so that I can customize what options might work best for you. But I do want to let you know today, we're going to spend about 10 minutes here. I'm not going to try to sell you anything. You can put your checkbook down. We're just going to gather some info so I can get a custom plan together. And then on our next call, we'll go over the options that are available. Is that fair? Do you want to do that? Right? We don't want to assume. We can ask, but we don't want to force people to go down that road and then you get a no-show. So just ask them. Is that fair? I'm looking at some of my questions. I think a really good question that we don't ask a lot, it's because we feel like it's so personal, Brandon, is, what's your typical annual income on average? What about your spouse's income? What about the family or the household income? Gotcha. Is that going up on an annual basis? Is it going down? Is this a really good year or just pretty normal? Okay. So then now we're digging a little deeper and we're letting the client know that we're a consultant, right? We're not just a product provider. And then we're getting into, we're still on the F part of it. which I didn't cover in the beginning, but it's the form questioning, FORM. So, family, occupation, recreation, and then money is the last one. But as we're in the family part, what's your, how many children do you have? Because you mentioned them earlier. How, what's their ages? What's their first names? Kind of get into that. I'm looking at some of the other questions we can cover. And then as we talk about your life insurance, and you mentioned to me that your retirement or your income replacement is important. How long do you feel like you're going to be working? So how long will you have that high income coming in? Are you planning to retire at 65, 67, later than that? So finding that out, that's another important question. And then do you have any other dependents other than your children? Do you have any adult parents that you take care of, or special needs folks in your family that you help out with financially? Those kind of things. And then, when you get the insurance, when you get the insurance in place, are we thinking about, and then dig a little deeper into the financial part? So I saw the next question on my list here is, do we want to pay off debt? Are we just replacing the income? Are we trying to do both, right? So we're trying to get as much data as we can in a conversational way, Brandon, rather than like, hey, what's this? What's this? Okay, how much debt do you have? No, we want to try to have a conversation about it. Great. Okay. Yeah, that helps me. Thanks for sharing that with me. Now your home, you're living there in Texas. Do you rent your own home, or do you own it? Y'all own it? Okay, got it. And so you're just trying to dig a little deeper there. I think what you'll find there is if you get enough of those questions answered, you'll have a full financial picture of this client in about 10, 15 minutes. They've voluntarily given it to you, right? You've built rapport along the way. Now, when you come back to them, could be later today, could be tomorrow or next week. Now we have a solution based on what they've told us. Not based on, I want 100,000 of insurance and I want term insurance. My budget's $100 a month. That's good. That's great. But that's not planning, and that's not giving the client what's best for them. It's honestly giving the client what they asked for.
And you missing out on opportunity yourself. Like, you could be helping them, if you get more information from them. Like they said, they have kids. Have they thought about their kids' college fund? Like, letting them know how they can build up their kids' college fund, the retirement question, like all these questions, all this data you have. That's why I feel like one call closes is probably like, okay, I can get something real quick, but you could be missing out on a whole lot of opportunity for both parties. And I think it's just great to do your due diligence, the 2-call close, in order to get all that information, in order to come back with a full, I would say, like in my world, proposal to give to the person. So
yeah. And even for the folks that are doing the quicker close for whatever reason, what is your process to have these questions answered? So are we doing it on the first call? Are we doing it on the policy delivery? But yeah, if you want to have a relationship with a client, meaning they look at you as a professional that can help them with their financial life, that whole circle, not just the insurance piece of the pie, then yeah, we got to get the questions answered. And we can always go down, and I've had some conversations this week about this. We can always go down the road of the needs analysis, Brandon, of, okay, you have this income, this debt, these needs, your kids are this old. We can do that. But if you really want help from my firm, here are the things we got to go through. And I'll give you a quick example of this without giving too much info. I met with a couple this week. They're 50 or so and 45. And they have one of the husband has a few adult kids, and then they have 2 young kids. And they felt like they had X amount of insurance and they had Y. It wasn't even the same wavelength, but income was good. And I just, once I went through all the questions, rather than just offering them $500,000 or $1 million of insurance, I realized they're going to have needs for rolling over their 401ks, disability income, because one's self-employed and he needs it. savings for retirement in general, because they're not really saving for retirement. They're in the income, they're accumulating assets, but they're not saving. They're not spending, so they're a good client in that way. It's getting somewhere, it's just not accumulating as much. But I wouldn't have known that unless I would have asked those questions, right? So, I always recommend, if nothing else, letting the client know, this is how I work. We work with clients. Some clients, are coming to us asking for a specific product or service. I know you saw a lead or you saw an ad and you were interested in it, in life insurance. But a lot of our clients value that we dig in a little bit and we try to find over time what their financial picture looks like, so we can make a specific recommendation custom to them.
Right.
So that's kind of the road we go down, and that's what some of these questions are. Here's a really good one, Brandon. I love this, the way it's written, so I'll just read it out. Have you ever owned life insurance before? If you have, what did you like about it? What did you like about the agent? Was there anything with your life insurance policy you didn't really like or care for? So those questions are huge. And I, before I saw this, I never utilized them. It's funny. Have you had life insurance before? If you have, what do you like about it? They'll tell you how to help them, at least from their preferences, what they're looking for. So they're going to tell you, well, term insurance, it was low premium. Permanent insurance, it kept building cash every year. I saw a statement, and it kept building. Or what did you not like about it? Oh, it's so expensive, whatever expensive means. And then here's a big question, a powerful one that we can all utilize is, have you ever known someone that was a beneficiary of a life insurance policy? That's big.
Oh,
so
yeah.
In other words, have you experienced what life insurance can do to change a family, or lack of, heaven forbid, not being in place, how that can affect a family? So that's a really good question. If you can have that on the first call, if not the beginning of the second call, you're doing good. Now you mentioned you have 2 kids. Is having college funding for your kids important? If you were to, end up sick or pass away before you thought, was that important to you? Just a basic question. They may say, no, my kids aren't going to college, or, they're going to have to figure out themselves, or, yeah, I definitely want to save money there. So, after that, on this particular presentation, they're going into, okay, well, with all that information in place, we're going to find some options. And then we're going to come back and give you a couple different choices. I think, that's a really good way to do it. This questionnaire here takes, we just went through it, but probably takes 10 minutes to go through, 15 minutes.
And I'll tell you, I didn't mean to cut you out there, but I'm like, this is so big in building rapport. Like, just those questions you asked, like, what did you like about your insurance policy, could turn into a 2-minute rant for them, 2 or 3 minute rant. And, now they trust you because they're talking to you. So these questions do more than just getting data, which is amazing in itself, but it's also building that rapport. Like, he's asking the right questions. I can trust him, because as a consumer myself, if I'm on the phone with somebody, I'm trying to trust them with my finances, my money, and all this stuff. I want to hear that they know what they're doing. It's like going to a doctor. You can kind of tell a doctor that's just kind of, push you off and, not really giving you a true diagnosis, and going to one that's very intelligent, talking to you, trying to get to the root cause of everything. So really getting to the root cause and building that rapport, that's huge, along with all the data you're getting. You can't lose. You can't lose by asking those questions. So.
Yeah, no, it's true. And we want to get the client talking, because we all know 2 things that us as humans love to do is, 1, we like to hear our name, and 2, we like to talk about things that are important to us. If they're not too hurtful or confidential. So we want to get the client talking. And the way we are able to help them is if they share those things with us, right? I always bring up that analogy of going to the doctor, Brandon, and having a headache, and the doctor says, okay, you have a headache. What is it? Probably 99 and 100 times out of 10, it's just stress. It's a headache. I mean, it's whatever. I don't know what causes a headache, but whatever it is, right? But what if it's not a headache? What if it's a tumor or, some kind of reaction with diabetes or something else with your blood sugar? The doctor's got to ask the questions rather than say, okay, yeah, I understand. Here's a Tylenol. You don't have any other medical issues that I know of from 2 years ago. So here's the Tylenol and you'll be fine. Or here's a massage, go get it and you'll be good. So we want to ask the questions. I'm not saying it's always going to work. The client's always going to want to answer them. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying it's always comfortable. I'm just saying we got to get in that habit of getting those questions out. As you get through them and you ask them and you have conversations around them, you get better at it. Right. The script that I normally use, Brandon, I don't have it up on the screen because I have it memorized. I don't need to have that up. It's because I've asked it so much. Some of these questions we're adding to the repertoire, but we want the client to know that when we come back to them, whenever that is, with their options and their plan, that we know it's the right thing. Mm-hmm. Like we've been doing this long enough, and we've been researching or working with our team leaders long enough to know this is the right thing for you. Doesn't mean they're going to get it, but we want them to know, like when I present to Brandon this afternoon, if he asks for something, I'm going to say, Brandon, I went out to the market based on everything you told me. I didn't use your name, but I talked to underwriters. I looked at different product solutions, and I found the best possible options that you'll qualify for in the U.S. Here's number one, here's number two, or, if number three. That's it. If they come back and they're like, well, I don't believe you, or then we did something wrong. But in general, they come back, okay, well, and the goal really with this, with financial services and life insurance, honestly, is to get a decision. Mm-hmm. Think about the things you woke up on Monday morning that you wanted to do this week. And think about how many of those you've done. Like the ideas you had, right? I don't mean like if you had to go to work or drive your car, but the ideas. Like I'll give you an example. I'm going to do something sweet for my wife this week. We've been married a few months. We had our 3-month anniversary. I know that's not a thing, but we're counting it down because we're adults that just got married for the first time. So I'm like, I'm going to get her some flowers. It's going to be a great idea. They're going to be beautiful. She loves these kind of flowers. And then I went on with my day. Now it's Thursday afternoon and there's no flowers because I didn't do anything, right? Life insurance is the same way. I went on a website. I put in my information. I talked to some person I didn't know. Now he or she's giving me options. They're there, but you have to help them get over the hump so they don't procrastinate and then they're not insured. So those are the questions to cover. I think we can get into a little more of the questions we've talked about before, Brandon, but in general, what we're trying to do is get to the second or third level of the conversation we're having with that client. If we're talking about their job, okay, well, how long have you been working there? Okay, great. Yeah. If we're talking about your children, oh, great. Yeah. How old are they? What are their names? Right? If we're talking about they've had life insurance before. Oh, gotcha. Well, what did you like about it? What kind of coverage did you have? How long have you had it for? So as we get to that second or third question, now we're really getting to where we want to be so that we can be a consultant and we can help the client.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, your screen is kind of like I don't know what it's called, kind of.
Yeah, that is so strange.
Yeah, but I can hear you clearly, like you're like normal.
Oh,
let's see. Oh yeah, you're good now. But I was just looking at some of the other questions, and then we can transition to some of the product conversations. But what concerns you the most? Needs in the event of a death. Is college funding important to you? Is retirement important? Or is how your investments are being treated important? Your income, if you were to lose your income because of a disability. Those are questions to ask. If you were to lose your income, if your wife or your husband were to lose their income and you weren't able to use it to pay the bills, what would your plan be? That's a hard question, Brandon.
Right, it
A hard
is.
question.
That's
We
a
went
good
over
one
that
too. That's a
a
good
few
one.
weeks ago. What would happen? Well, you're probably going to get a shocked answer, right? Like, well, I don't know, or I'm not sure. Would you live in the house that you're in now, or would you move? Would the kids change schools, or would they be able to go to the same school? And you're slowing down, and you're being more serious, because it is more serious.
Mm-hmm.
If you were to get basic life insurance and you weren't able to use that insurance to save for retirement, what would your plan for retirement be? Would you have another account? Would you just kind of hope for Social Security? Would you go on Medicaid? What would the plan be? I mean, it's just a question. They don't have to answer, right? But we're asking the questions. So that's where we're trying to get, and I think we're all trying to get there, Brandon, like you said, because it's so easy in our world and as sales folks to just ask the basic questions and go on to the next thing. And
The
I used
medical
to do it.
questions and all
Yeah,
that, and
yeah, I
yeah,
used to do
that's
it.
it. That's
I'm
all
in the
that.
same group. I'm
Trying
not
to
any
get a
different.
quote machine.
I used to have 15-minute meetings for discovery calls and just ask the basic health and need questions and move on. And then my implementation or proposal calls would be 30 minutes. So I'm just as guilty as anyone else. But I think just slowing down and maybe if you have a proposal document or if you have notes on your notebook, like just writing 2 or 3 more questions out and filtering, adding those into your proposals, your presentations. And then next week, maybe add 1 or 2 more and just keep going.
And like you said, it's uncomfortable. It's
Yeah.
uncomfortable
Yeah.
because when I even in my agency and I ask questions like, so how much is that costing you? I don't want to ask that question, but it's the truth. Like not having a predictable customer acquisition system in place, how much is that costing you? If someone can't afford it, it's like I see why, because you're losing probably what 100,000 or more a year because you don't have something in place. So you're actually losing money not having something in place.
Yeah.
So just asking those kind of make people think about what they're doing. I mean, it's uncomfortable. But somebody's going to ask those questions. The expert that they're not going to no show or just blow off is going to be the one that they really trust. That's really ask them the real questions. Sometimes you just have to be real with people. And
Yeah.
ask
I
those
mean,
real
just
questions.
thinking about that client I'm talking about the other day, they're high income earners. They're both 6-figure earners. They said they have 500,000 of term insurance each. And then I get to the questions, and luckily my agent partner is there with the wife, and they're going over the documents that are there. And I said, okay, well, how much is your coverage per month? Looking at the screen, right, or the printout, and she goes $41 a month, and I'm like, and she said it's I need to increase my premium because I'm not reaching the minimum, and I'm like thinking, okay, first of all, this isn't IUL. Or this is an IUL or a UL because she can flex her premiums, and it's not 500,000 because 45-year-old at $40 a month would buy like 25,000.
Right.
So I'm like, that's not right. And I said, okay, how long does it last? And she said, well, it doesn't really say. If I would have just said, how much coverage do you have? How long did you get it? What does it cost? And got no answer and moved on. Because sometimes the client, what do they say, Brandon? Oh, I don't know. I have to look. And then you move on and you just go for the sale. I would have been about 400,000 off because they each have about 100,000 of coverage each.
Mm.
And they're making 6 figures each, like separately.
Mm.
I'm like, we're way off.
We're
Like multiple hundreds of thousands off. So
right.
It's asking those uncomfortable questions, and then in their case, because we knew them, we were able to get the statements and review them, because it's like, oh, we got work to do here. So
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, that should help with the questions. What I was thinking, Brandon, since we're kind of halfway through, if you want to transition over to some of the questions you're getting from our advisors around product, we can transition into that. Or if you have
For
other
sure.
questions you want me to cover.
Well, I know, we kind of switched the format of the call to be more of in a podcast type setting,
Yeah.
instead of the, group setting and things like that, just so more people can, if they're driving or you hop in late or something like that, they can catch us on the groups and other pages and things like that. So I think 30 minutes is a good time. I mean, if you're not asking these questions, there was a whole loaded bit of information there. So let's let people chew on that. Like, ask the questions. Ask those questions, ask those uncomfortable questions. Don't just ask those health questions and be a quoting machine, and really try to understand the pain points of the prospect, your customer. They're people, they need help, they may be in debt, they may have kids, they need college, I mean, anything, living benefits, or anything they may need right now. So
Yeah.
just ask those questions, but we can cut it short today, Chad. 30 minutes, I think that's a good time. A
Yeah.
good time
Yeah.
for
I think
everyone.
30 minutes is always good for a meeting nowadays.
Yeah.
That's the average person, how long they can kind of focus. I'm on the
Yeah.
list. I'm playing with something on my desk right now.
Right. Right. Right.
Right.
Exactly.
Um,
Exactly.
yeah, I agree with you, Brandon. Though, ask the questions. I know it's a challenge, but it's a skill you can learn and practice. And even if you write down one extra question, you start asking in the next week, and then the next 2 weeks from now, you're making progress. Plus, if you haven't ever thought about this, it'll slow down your speech. So if I'm talking like this, Brandon, I'm like, yeah, okay, great. Yeah, what's your date of birth? Got it. Yeah, and you're in Louisiana. Okay, what's your height and weight? And we start getting in that zone. Now we're
Mm,
really in the, I'm a telemarketer zone, right?
right.
If we
Right.
can slow down with our questions. Oh, gotcha. Yeah, how long have you been in Louisiana? Okay, so you're in computer sales. Got it. Okay. Yeah, do you work for yourself? Now you start slowing down naturally, and like you said, we'll open up all kind of other opportunities.
Most
Because if
definitely.
somebody's, I always laugh and remind our agents of this, Brandon, but somebody's going online, or just even if we saw a really good ad and they're asking for help on life insurance, they probably need help,
Oh yeah.
right? They don't have an advisor that they just decided to go online instead of, and not talk to the advisor. They're looking for help.
Right, right, for sure.
So
So we
yeah,
want to be there
well,
to help.
great.
We want to be there to help, man. And
Yeah,
usually, the people that come on here, they have amazing products like you, Chad. Amazing service. That here, like if someone was to go down the street to like a brick and mortar, doing that kind of shopping, they may not get those kind of results. For example, you actually helped me out with some coverage for a family member. That was just a great deal. And someone else helped out a family member, and I mean, she was just wow, like wow. She was a cancer patient, and other ailments, things like that, and
yeah,
just couldn't believe that she got such good coverage. And she just thanked me for leading her in the right direction to get that kind of coverage, because I mean, she was just amazed. So uh,
yeah,
we're providing a great service. When people come in, they're in for a treat, so they need help. Let's not let our incompetence of our own products mess us up from helping someone. So it's really, I mean, if you have that arsenal of that ammunition of products, then yeah, for sure. Yeah, you
yes.
got something special. You're special. So also, Terrell, appreciate you joining the call, man. Do you have any questions or concerns?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't think you could hear me before. No questions or concerns. I love it. Um, I'll tell you that that farm is what I operate off of too, but just family, occupation, recreation, and by then I've already covered the money, so it's just message. But whatever that M is, I love it. So that's great, and man, I'm excited.
Let's do it. Let's do it. All right, you all. I appreciate your time. Have any questions? Let us know. Need a little one-on-one time with Chad. I'll try to sweet talk him and spend some time with you. All right. All right. Everyone have a good one.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Chad. Thanks, Brandon.
All right. Thank you. All right, they get.